to a brand new month and a brand new day right here on Daybreak Live. It's Monday, June 2nd, 2025, and we are coming to you live on Dominion Television. I am Samson Balogun.
And I am Pat Aito. We are thrilled to kick off your journey with energy, insight, and everything you need to start your week informed and inspired.
Coming up this morning, Daybreak News with the top stories you need to know.
And then we'll dive into the headlines with our newspaper front page analysis, breaking down the stories behind the print.
Don't miss the big story, our deep dive segment where we tackle today's most pressing issues, an expert guest, and bold opinions.
Plus, we have got your sports updates, bringing you all the weekend scores, highlights, and what to watch this week.
And of course, we will keep you in the loop with Trend Watch, what's buzzing online and what everyone is talking about.
So grab your coffee, settle in, and let's make this morning count. This is Daybreak Live, where your day begins with purpose.
Good morning, Pat.
Good morning, Samson. How are you?
I'm fine. It's a new week.
It's a new month. It's a new week. So I must say happy weekend to you. Happy new month to you. Then happy
happy new month.
Well, it's
I guess you are just booting.
I'm just booting. I feel like we'll go back again and we can start all over. Okay. But all the same, this is Monday. We need to make money. We need to do exploits. We need
money
to
making
do
Monday.
We need to do exploits and of course set a new week for ourselves. So here we are doing what we know how to do best.
Of course.
So good morning once again and happy new month. Happy Monday.
Good morning to you. All right, there's a lot of things, we have a lot of things to talk about this morning, especially Salah is around the corner, and then when you check the price of commodities out there, especially the price of RAM, you know, you begin to ask questions. Will a common man who actually gets minimum wage
What do you mean by a common man?
No, I'm just asking, because it has turned to, I mean, the situation now, you have to save before you can buy, you know, RAM for. And it used to be, you know, something quite simple for all families back then.
Well, to me, it's a big thing, because when you talk about Salah, that's Eid al-Kabir. It's a time for every Muslims to do the needful, and the needful is killing a ram, which is the significance of that celebration. But as it is now, if you look at what the prices of those rams are, it's something alarming, and you keep wondering, where do I start from? Even with the minimum wage, there's increment. The increment will not affordability
it's
of
not 70,000.
That's all affordability of getting the RAM. It's under maybe. We have increased to 70,000 naira. Would 70,000 naira get you a RAM? No,
I don't think so.
I think over the weekend I tried to price one. I'm saying 235,000.
That's
a little bit fleshy.
That's something quite small, because there are as high as 400, 500,000. Yeah. So, and then I was talking to a colleague a few minutes ago and was saying there was an area where these rams even have price tags. I mean, that's
supermarket for you. That
so
don't price.
Pricing.
Just see if this is what you want to take. If it is what you're buying, buy. Asking me alone jale jale, there's no jale jale in this.
That's quite, you know.
Oh, it's quite a lot.
It's not just the RAM now, even price of other commodities. If you successfely buy a RAM, you know, it doesn't end there. Actually, you still have to
buy some other things, rice, etc., etc. But then, I think this is where the government should come in, and I'm saying what's it called, a story about Governor Seyi Makinde of your state, where he subsidized those food items, RAM, for a low price for them to for civil and public servants. So if you're not a civil servant, can you? But then I think they should look away from civil or public servant alone, then to every citizens as well. Residents of your state, so that they can afford those things they can use to celebrate Eid al-Kabir.
All right, away from celebration this morning, we'll move straight to Mokwa in Niger State, where about 153 people have been declared, dead. And of course, some are still missing, because as of now, they can't really pinpoint how many people lost their lives in the just recent flooding in Niger State, and that's something quite disheartening to actually read on the pages of the newspaper. But then we commiserate with the families, and then we do
the
that.
governments of
it's not just lives, properties were lost, and when you look at the wreckages, you feel really sorry for the people of Niger State as we speak. But then there are quite a number of things that could have caused flooding.
The flood.
Sometimes we, as much as we want to blame the people for actually dumping refuse on waterways, some are actually natural disasters which no one could have actually avoided. Sometimes when you look at overflooding, rivers overflowing, when heavy rainfall actually happens, and then rivers have taken enough water, more water than they can actually carry, then it overflows. And you understand that Niger, Benue, these are places where they have coastal lines.
Well, the deed has been done, but it's quite unfortunate. And we'll commiserate with the families of the loved ones, who lost their loved ones, and the governor of, or government of the Niger State as well. So I think they need to sit down and look at the possible ways of tackling flooding in that particular area. Not only in Niger State alone. Yoruba will just say this in proverb. So now sending a signal, every state should sit and look at. Even it happens in Lagos too. There's a particular place in Alakoko that was actually talking, there's a big company there. There is no how you pass through that side when you have one rain falls and you think you'll get to your house. No. The whole place will be flooded. And that's why you keep on asking questions. What happens? Daylight like this, when it's not raining, you see how the place is fine, it's okay. But once it rains like this, it's another disaster there. So it's a wake-up call for every government from each state. So like, okay, let's look at it. Are we going to dredge our waterways? Or do we have to keep on doing sensitization to our residents, to our citizens of the states we govern, that, don't dump refuse in so area? And some people do not even still listen. The thing they do is, okay, we'll do, since government do not provide where and where we're going to dump our refuse, then we keep on dumping it, the waterways, and it's not right. More sensitization to the citizens, it's quite important here.
Right. Also, as much as we'll talk about that too, governments should do the needful in terms of sensitization. And natural disasters sometimes are quite unavoidable. But then I want to believe many a times the government actually gets information beforehand, knowing that
and that's why we have the NIMET.
The NIMET. So I want to believe dam failures can actually cause stays, and then they should look into these dams and make sure that there is no reoccurrence of flooding in this part of the country, especially in Nigeria generally, because lives and properties really do matter.
Even if there is, there won't be casualties.
There won't be casualties. All right, so that takes us away from this segment of the show. This morning, we say very thank you for joining us on Daybreak Live. Don't forget, you can keep the conversation going by joining us on our social media platforms. On YouTube, it is at Dominion Broadcast. Subscribe to that channel, drop your comment there, and we're going to read them. And also on other social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, it is at Dominion Broadcast. And on X, formerly Twitter, it is at Dominioncast. You can also watch us live on our website at www.dominion.org.ng, dominion.org.ng. We now head straight for a short break, and when we return, we head straight to our news desk this morning. Aspata Ito is ready to take the news.
A very good morning to you. Welcome to Daybreak News on Dominion Television. I am Pat Aito. The federal government has announced plans to deploy 7 million smart meters through its presidential metering initiative, aiming to eliminate exmitted billing and reduced revenue leakages. The special advisor to President Bola Tinubu on energy, Oluwejina, disclosed this in Abuja, speaking on the second anniversaries of Tinubu's administration, also stating that the smart meters will end collection losses for most on-grid customers who are currently unmetered. She explained that the meter deployment is part of the administration's effort to improve the commercial value chain of gas to power. The federal government has unveiled a groundbreaking group purchasing platform named Medipol, aimed at slashing the cost of essential medicines and healthcare products to further energize local pharmaceutical manufacturing across the country. The initiative, according to the coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Ali Pate, is expected to cut drug prices and boost local farm manufacturing. The initiative is structured as a public-private partnership and leverages the federal government's considerable purchasing power to negotiate favorable prices directly from the local manufacturers. The Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria, JUSN, has directed 8 members nationwide to suspend the planned industrial action originally scheduled to commence today. A statement released by Joel Ebiluma Public Relations Officer of Johnson National Judicial Council chapter noted that the 2-week reprieve was granted to allow the relevant authorities time to resolve outstanding issues. The strike was postponed following the intervention of the Minister of Labour and other stakeholders who held a series of meetings with union leaders. The meetings involved representatives of Johnson from various federal judicial bodies, the Minister of Labour and other judiciary stakeholders as mandated by the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kudirat Kekereekun, to prevent the closure of courts. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) has filed fresh charges against the embattled former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN), Godwin Emefiele. The charges filed before a high court of the Federal Capital Territory alleged that Emefiele unlawfully acquired a housing estate comprising 753 units and allegedly stole and controlled billions of naira in proxy account. The EFCC also accused Emefiele of colluding with one Eric Ocheme, who is reportedly at large, to acquire the property and monies. The Oyo State government has distributed festive commodity advances to 2,500 civil and public servants across the state in preparation for the 2025 Ileya Eid-el-Kabir celebration. The distribution was carried out by the State Chairman of the Agricultural Credit Corporation, Taufik Akeugbagold, at the corporation's premises at Toto Garden in Ibadan, the state capital. According to Akeugbagold, the commodities included rams, bag of rice, vegetable oil, and other food items, also explaining that the initiative forms part of Governor Seyi Makinde's administration's effort to support the welfare of civil and public servants, particularly during festive season. The Lagos State government has announced the full enforcement of e-call-up system for articulated vehicles and tankers along the Lekki-Epe corridor will commence on the 16th of June 2025. The announcement was made by the Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Dr. Kadri Obafemi Hamzat, during a high-level stakeholders meeting. The meeting was convened to address growing concerns over traffic congestion and logistics inefficiencies caused by increasing industrial and port-related activities in the Lekki Free Zone and its environs. The wife of Anambra State Governor Nonye Soludo has urged women of Dumokofia local government area to justify the confidence deposited in them by those who empowered them. A total of 1,083 petty traders drawn from various communities in the council were empowered by the local government and the support of two illustrious sons, Otho Eze and Jim Nwabu Eze. Speaking during the empowerment program held at the local government headquarters, Mrs. Soludo said that the women were selected based on trust. The Bauchi state government has taken decisive steps to enhance security at the Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa International Airport, Sapia, banning all farming and grazing activities within the airport premises. Speaking at a security and stakeholders meeting held at the airport, the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Works and Housing, Engineer Muhammad Amisu Garba, said the move aligns with Governor Bala Muhammad's directive to strengthen the airport security architecture and prevent further breaches. As part of the initiative, 7 surveillance personnel have been deployed from nearby communities to work closely with airport authorities, with their role includes monitoring activities, reporting suspicious behavior, and preventing vandalism. And in business, the Standard Organization of Nigeria (SAN) has urged manufacturers to avoid unqualified calibration providers to deliver value to consumers. Speaking at the event held in Lagos to mark 2025 World Meteorology Day, the Director General and Chief Executive Officer of SON, Dr. Ifeanyi Chinonso Okeke, stated that SON was working with relevant bodies to eliminate such operatives and uphold trusted calibration services that will provide value for money spent. Okeke disclosed that SON was tackling challenges confronting small businesses through training and awareness campaigns, adding that the enforcing standards would improve product quality and enhance competitiveness nationwide. Remember that you can visit our website at www.dominion.org.ng to watch us live and interact with us. You can also follow us across our social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at Dominion Cast. And that was Daybreak News. Thank you so much for watching. Good morning. All right, good morning once again and welcome to Headlines from the stable of Dominion Television here in Ibadan. Of course, we'll be bringing you stories from our newspapers. My name is Pat Aito. Say welcome. All right, we'll kickstart with Nigerian Tribune, where we have this story, the economy story there. Manufacturers lament mounting challenges with the riders. 767 manufacturing companies shut down in 2023 and over 18,000 jobs lost in 2024. Cost of imported raw materials surged by 180%, and we have spending on alternative energy hit 1.11 trillion naira in 2024. That's on page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune. Away from that, we have this one: federal government mandate employees compensation scheme for public workers, and it comes with the rider. NSCIF joins federal head of civil service to sensitize civil servants. That's on page 3 of the same paper. And we have this a human angle story: Kano accident, fatigue, excessive speeding caused death of 21 athletes. That's coming from the FRRC, and that's on page 2 of the same paper. Away from that, we have NDLEA bust syndicates sponsoring pilgrims with cocaine to Paul. That's a big one there. That's on. You can read more on that. And away from that, we have FAAC allocation to states up by 62% in 2 years. That's presidency is talking there, and you can read more on page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune. We have polling agency releases result of political trend survey in Ocean, still on from the Nigerian Tribune, and that's page 22. And we go up the top corner of the Nigerian Tribune is how over 60 airlines folded up in 3 decades, according to investigation, page 22 of the Nigerian Tribune. Nigeria loses $8.8 billion in annual revenue to informal sector, according to AFDB, page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune. And lastly, from the Nigerian Tribune, before we'll go straight to business day, we have Dangote refinery can make regions petroleum needs, and ECOWAS president is talking there. That means Dangote refinery can meet regions petroleum needs, according to ECOWAS president. You can read more on page 27 of the Nigerian Tribune. Await from that business day. Business day, investor come calling on Naira's positive outlook. That's investors come calling on Naira's positive outlook. That's from business day. We have this inside Nigeria's $1.3 billion potato industry. Remember that on May 31st was International Day of Potato. Away from that, we have fiscal deficit surges 75% under Tinubu despite revenue gains. All you can read, that on you can read business day you can grab your business day, I beg your pardon, you can grab your business day for details of all this before we head straight to the Guardian. And of course, like I said, fiscal deficit surges 75% under Tinubu despite revenue gains. Away from that, we head straight to the Guardian. The Guardian is coming with this one, and that's politics. 2027 opposition coalition shops for candidates as APC mocks efforts. Page 6 of the Guardian. And we have economy not in crisis, says presidency as Afenifere rates Tinubu low. 2 years of Tinubu administration, Afenifere is saying economy not in crisis, says according to the presidency, because the Afenifere rates Tinubu low. Away from that, we have this one from the top corner of the Guardian. Saudi Arabia evicts 205,000 unauthorized pilgrims from Makkah. Now that's on page 2 of panorama page 2 of the Guardian. Beside it, we have Forum appeals for relocation of Giwa barracks as IEDs Q9 in Borno State. And from the top corner, beside that, we have Arewa grieves over Niger flood disaster and Kano accident. We sympathize with them as well. Down below, we have ECOWAS at 50, a legacy at a crossroads. Well, pick a copy of the Guardian to read more of all these headlines. Away from the Guardian to a New Telegraph. Telegraph saying herders hijack Benue Links bus, abduct 5 female passengers with the riders, abandoned women with gunshot wound. We have closed down 15 Catholic parishes in Benue State. Main priest is saying that, and police seek community support to end kidnapping. You can find that on page 3, 25 and 30 of the New Telegraph. From the New Telegraph, politics, Nigeria's democracy under state capture. Wabara is talking there, says he can't stop speaking truth to power at 77, and advocates compulsory Beavers e-transmission of poll results. All that's at page 2 of the New Telegraph. Well, there's a health story here. Just 3 nights of poor sleep mayhem heart health. That's according to study. You can read more on the page 30 of the New Telegraph. And away from that, we'll head straight to this disaster that occurred in Kano, in Niger State. Mokwa flood, death toll now more than 200, over 500 missing according to officials, and the rider Abbas, ACF, others mourn. That's on page 3. 77 and 7 and 31. You can read more on that. We got lots of headlines from the New Telegraph, and well, I'll take this one. Presidency, Nigeria's 2009 TRNCF gas position for energy transition. We have now head straight. Well, pick a copy of New Telegraph to read more of the headlines read to you this morning as we dive to leadership this morning. Away from that, we head to leadership newspaper. There's quiet in APC over automatic tickets. Riders, APC governors may meet Ganduje after Salah. I will follow party decision. Uzodinma and party mom as former minister in Buhari's cabinet dumps APC. Oh, that's politics there. 2027 politics playing there. And we have Mokwa flood death toll hits 153. But remember, Telegraph said more than 200 now, over 200. And we have 50 killed, 15 churches shot in Makodi Catholic Church. I mean, priest is saying that. Or we have IMF analysts caution federal government over increasing debts. Economic side of the story. And we have Abuja water shortage due to plants rehabilitation. Wike is talking. Federal government moves to cut $1.5 billion dairy imports. All that you can find on the leadership this morning. And away from that, we have Buhari, Akpabio, Abbas, all those mourns victims of a Kano auto crash. We sympathize with them. Well, we have this one too. 1 million grant expert, that's euro expert to raise concern over misuse of foreign aid. So you want more, you can pick a copy of all the newspapers this morning and read more for yourself, just to enjoy your day as you go out. Well, when we'll come back to analyze what the papers are saying this morning. Stick around, do not go anywhere. It's still Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. All right, welcome back. It's still Daybreak Live on Dominion Television here in Ibadan. Remember, we're ready to take you through the newspaper analysis this morning. I've been joined by Mr. Afolabi Afolami. He's a public affairs analyst. Mr. Afolabi, before you confuse me, first, good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you today?
So, not bad.
All right. A lot's happening in our country, and we have Nigerian Tribune reporting from the economic side, where manufacturers lament mounting challenges, saying that a lot of riders, say 767 manufacturing companies shut down in 2023, over 18,000 jobs lost in 2024. Costs of imported raw materials surged by 118%, and spending on alternative energy hit 1.11 trillion naira in 2024.
Well, this is not very good at a time like this. The economy is not friendly to anybody.
When is it good?
Well, it's never, well, it has been good in the past. Nigeria has enjoyed, relatively friendly economic environment where people felt Nigeria is the best place to come in and invest. We've gotten companies running here in Nigeria. That was where we have the likes of Volkswagen, the likes of big company, PZ was there. I was talking to my kids some weeks ago, and I was asking them, that we used to have what we call Omo, Elephant, and some other product like that. And then we could recite their jingles almost every time. When we were growing up. We had the likes of Joy Girl, those music, and that was how we grew up. And we also understand that there are places in Lagos where you just went to and you see these factories, these companies that are filled of foreign companies, and they are doing very well. But today we hardly see them. What we see right now are real estate companies floating where we should be having our industrialization taking their shape there. But as I said earlier, the country right now is not very friendly for investors, especially when the last we talked about the tax on importation has grew up beyond reasonable doubts. And when you talk about tax, it also cuts across the electricity that we're using right now, power supply. Yes, the power is not there, but the rate at which we are paying right now is even much more than anybody can imagine. And that is where, you see, when you talk about companies having a fine stay or a sound footing in a country, there are so many factors to be considered. Security. Where is our security? What is our government doing in the area of security? Everybody wants to go to Lagos. What happened to the other 35 states? They are there. This morning you were reading about the Borno State devastation. The water flowed in Mokwa that has taken away over 1 million people. And we are still counting, and government is here to do something else, to do something to prevent future occurrence. And somebody will come and look at a country like Nigeria and want to bring your billions of naira. It's not going to work. I don't understand where we have leaders and they travel abroad and see things doing, and they never felt that they could replicate such in a country like this. We have very good atmosphere. We have fine terrain. We have good people here. But when we don't have good leaders, then this is what we get in return. They will close up their shops. They will move out of the country. Gone are those days we go to places like our neighboring country, to bring in products here and sell and make 10%, 100% in profit. But these days, there's no place to go because their own money, currency, is even better than ours. So these are the things that we make job to be lost. People hardly get something to do. And that we always interpret that we should be expecting more crime.
So how can the industry, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, work together to address this challenges?
Manufacturers Association work together where we have government and House of Assembly members who should put up policies that will be okay for them. These manufacturers associations are just people who wants to do their business in a friendly environment, who look up to the government policy to be able to have their sound footing. You remember the Agbara industrial area? Remember the Ibadan industrial area? Go to Ibadan industrial area now, what do you find there? The road to those areas is even not good. Many of those companies there are shutting down. Gone are the days we have P&G. Where is P&G right now? They have gone. When they close up their shops, they ask the lay off their workers. And when they lay off their workers, the family get affected. The society is affected too. So what are we talking about?
Well, let me align this, your thoughts with this story here from The Guardian, where Afenifere rates Tinubu low. And President says, answering Afenifere, that economy not in crisis, says President. So would you agree with the presidency?
The presidency is talking from the villa. I may not know what is happening on the streets. You know, when you are comfortable where you find yourself, the tea comes on the right time, the food is served very well, and then when you want to go out,
there's adequate balanced diet.
Yes, and adequate balanced diet. And before you come out of the house, the car is already clean, the fuel is there, somebody is rushing to open the door, and then you are fine. As you move in, security are ahead of you, sending people away from the road, you know, and you get to your wherever you want to go to, and nobody is shouting, power. And you look at the people and you look at their face, even when they are pretending to be smiling, and you think all is well. All is not well, my sister. And when Afenifere talks in that area, I don't know the angle, the angles of the Afenifere that are talking, because they too have been broken into pieces. And I want to believe those ones who have spoken this must have said the right thing to the president to hear. The economy is not friendly. It is written everywhere. You can walk on the street and see the face of the people. When you go to church in those days, it's always filled up. Or you go to mosques in those days, but these days, by the time the sermon is about to start, you still look back and yet people are yet to come. Because many people have not eaten their breakfast and they don't know what they will take in the night. And some don't even have transportation fee to bring them down.
Church.
So that is just the case. People will be thinking of the next day after Sunday as if they are thinking of the next day to go to hell or heaven. So that is just the case. So I don't know what this is not the time to pretend. But all what we have about our presidency is 2027 agenda. This is not good at the time.
All right, away from economy, let's dive into politics. And we have this from The Guardian as well. 2027 opposition coalition shops 4 candidates as APC mocks effort.
It is normal. They will shop for
why is it? Why is that normal?
Because what we have an agenda right now is 2027. You know, it's a pity that our presidency and that of our political allies have turned our country to be a football field where some people bet for who win this match at this time like this. You know, they've taken the masses to. I mean, they've taken them for granted. It's not we now become the ball that people are playing together. The same people who put this man there are the same people who are shopping for a replacement.
Opposition coalition.
And history will always stand out. We have it in the history that a time was when a head of state was to want to metamorphose into a civilian rule. He asked that he sent out his emissary and they bring out many political parties who at that time there were 5.
Mr. Afolabi, before you go further, still on politics,
yes.
Do you think the coalition will address the potential internal crisis?
They too are having crisis. They can't meet up with the challenge of the present president that I know. They can't, because the man already knows everybody. He knows them from northwest and east. He knows who they are. He knows their strength. Many of them has worked on his platform. He too have brought them on board. And you see, the funny part of it is that they've released to him information.
Are you now saying nobody to challenge the President Tinubu's administration come 2027?
Nobody was able to challenge Abacha until God challenged him.
That's Abacha, not...
My sister, history will repeat. I only pray it will not end up as the case of Abacha. At that time too, we have youth earnestly asked for Abacha. And as it is right now, the presidency is also calling for youth conference to address the country issues for a 30-day sitting in Abuja. For a competent youth that knows what he's going to do, you come and sit in Abuja for 30 days. You're waiting. The coalition is just to make name. When you look at the caliber of people in the coalition angle too, you see that these people are the offenders of the country, of the nation. Those people who have already mismanaged at one time or the other. It's people who has also been unable to put up a policy that will have elevated, Nigerians out of poverty.
Well, before I let you go this morning because of our time, New Telegraph, Nigeria's democracy under state capture. Wabara saying that. Your thoughts?
Yes.
Quick one.
Insecurity is already taking shape.
Nigeria's democracy under state capture.
Yes. we are seeing it left, right, and center. The north is already a no-go area. And individual states and political elites are already talking about taking charge of their states. And you see that already happening. Ekiti state election is coming forth. Osun state election is very close. After those two elections, we know what will be for 2027.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Afolabi Afolami. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us this morning. All right, thank you so much. You're still very much on to the Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. Well, up next will be a big story with Samson Balogo. Good morning, and thank you so much for staying tuned.
carried the pride of a state, competed with passion, and gave their all at the National Sports Festival in Ogun 2025. But their journey home ended in a heartbreak. The Kano State contingent returning from what should have been a celebration of national unity and athletic excellence was involved in a ghastly auto crash, claiming lives and leaving others injured. This tragedy reopens a long-standing wound, the question of how much Nigeria truly values its athletes beyond the podium. On the big story, today, we ask when will the welfare of Nigerian athletes stop being an afterthought? Nigeria's athletes are more than competitors. They are ambassadors and peace builders. And unifying forces, the brave personal sacrifice to compete under the Nigerian flag, but all too often, the system fails them. The recent fatal crash involving Kano athletes after Ogun 2025 is not just an isolated incident. It's a reflection of deeper systemic neglect, unsafe travel arrangements, delayed allowances, lack of insurance, and silence from those in power. How many more lives must be lost before athletes' welfare is treated as national priority? Today, we look beyond the games and medals. We look into lives behind the stories. Good morning and welcome to another edition of The Big Story on Daybreak Live. And of course, this is Dominion Television, your channel of choice. Don't forget, you can be a part of the conversation by dropping your comment on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to that channel at Dominion Broadcast. Drop your comments and keep the conversation going. You can also link up with us on all other social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. It is at Dominion Broadcast. And on X, formerly Twitter, it is at Dominion Cast. You can also watch us live on our website, www.dominion.org.ng, dominion.org.ng. I have with me this morning Kola Daniel, who is the Special Assistant Media to the Director General, National Sports Commission. Kola Daniel, good morning to you. Hello. Good morning. Can you hear me? All right, looks like the network is somehow failing. But of course, still talking about the National Sports Festival. The 22 athletes returning from the NSF from Ogun State down to Kano State. They were involved in a ghastly auto crash. There were 31 on board and 22 of them lost their lives. Kola Daniel, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good to have you on the show.
The pleasure is mine.
Kola Daniel is the Special Assistant Media to the Director General of National Sports Commission, NSF, in Nigeria. It's indeed something really disheartening to talk about, but of course we have to do that on the show this morning. Talking about the athletes that lost their lives while traveling back to Kano State, your complete overview of what happened.
I think it was a black day for Nigerian sport. Knowing full those athletes have actually competed with pride for Kano. They competed with pride with the color of Kano State, the strength at the National Sports Festival. Some of these brought minds to the face of the Kano State winning Lawrence for their respective teams. The officials, the journalists who actually reported the game are not left out of those who lost their lives in that ugly incident. They were actually coming from Abeokuta, Ogun State, Abeokuta precisely. They were like 50 kilometers away from Kano, a place called Kunu local government precisely. So unfortunate that the car failed to brake. That led to that fatal accident that killed 22 people in that accident. It's unfortunate that we have succeeded to have lost athletes who competed with pride, strength, commitment, sense of patriotism to their state. They died at the cost of duty. knowing fully well they went on an official assignment. This ugly incident has brought so many emotional pain to football, to sports stakeholders, and immediately my Director General National Sports Commission sprung into action immediately, reported it to the custodians of the game, talking about Ogun State Governor, which immediately they sent their delegation led by no other person but the Deputy Governor of Ogun State, Raja Asad, who they left for Kanu. They are in Kanu presently. And again, in the Commission, National Sports Commission, 3 people left again that same day to Kanu, led by the Director of Finance, the Special Assistant Lega to the Chairman too of the National Sports Commission, talking about Musa Madu, and as well the Chief Protocol to the Chairman, talking about Malankau, who happens to be son of the soil, Elam, was bred and brought in Kano State. So the delegation of the National Sports Commission presently are in Kano, and again the delegation of Ogun State, which are the custodian of the just concluded 22nd National Sports Festival held in Ogun State, date weekend. It's back to what I said much earlier. It's quite disheartening. It's not something one should just trivialize. Measures have been put in place immediately for subsequent games where teams have to show their modalities, their formalities of traveling, so that the commission will have proper details of the team traveling. All stakeholders, sport councils, there will be transport regulators that will regulate what all states are doing in terms of travel arrangements for athletes. Insurance company immediately will be put in place for all athletes representing any state for their life to be assured, for their life to be insured, knowing fully well, assured our life is it's compulsory that everyone will pass out of existence one day. So there's an assurance that everyone must pass through with insurance companies. Safety agencies have been contracted to ensure that this never happens again. My Director General put those in place just yesterday to ensure that, yes, we have an itch-free subsequent games. You can never undermine the power of risks, but avoidance of risk can be taken. Avoidance of risk can be ensured. Reduction of risks can be ensured. So at this point in time, these are the measures put in place: regulators for transporters, regulators for athletes, regulators for administrators, to ensure the athletes are not subchanged. Athletes are properly taken care of. Their welfare becomes priority. The way and manner they travel in this country becomes so pertinent to the regulators of sport in Nigeria, which happens to be National Sports Commission.
Okay, let's talk about accountability and the structure in place by the NSF. Before now, you just spoke about some measures that were put in place. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
You just spoke about measures put in place just yesterday. Now, let's talk about structures in place even before now. What is the National Sports Festival's official policy on welfare and transportation of athletes before this particular event?
All states are liable for the transportation of the athletes to the respective venue of the host city that happens to host National Sports Festival. In terms of welfare, the state determines what the athlete will earn, not the commission. All hands are not equal. Why some athletes, a case study, Lagos might decide to pay 15,000 per day for an athlete. Another state might decide to pay 5,000 per day for an athlete. So all those determinant factors are not responsibility of the commission. What the commission does is to ensure that all the logistics, all the platform needed to ensure that all athletes will be in a festival of that magnitude will be put in place. They can study the accommodation which we did in Babcock University. Over 15,000 athletes were camped in Babcock University ensure the provision of transportation, moving them from the hostel, from the hostel to the venue of respective games. A case study, Moshood Abiola Stadium Arena was used, Ikeja Alake Sporting Center was used, Remo Stadium was used, and host of others. So there was provision of transportation from their hostel to the venue where they have their respective games. So in terms of welfare you're actually talking about, for state athletes, it is the responsibility of that state to determine what the welfare of athletes will look like. But at the national level, talking about athletes representing the country in international tournaments, in local tournaments, it is the duty, it is the National Sport Commission is saddled with that responsibility to determine what athletes could take home in terms of welfare.
Okay, in a case like this, who is held responsible or accountable? The whole state, the state the athletes come from, or the national organizing body?
I think I just gave you a sense of clarity. You should be able to know now that that's serving the hands of the state.
State they are coming from.
The state they are actually coming from, the Ministry of Youth and Sport of that state is liable with the welfare of the athletes, not at the national level.
Okay, now, judging by what you just said now, the athletes that came for the NSF, they were not covered by any form of insurance.
The athletes that came for where?
For the NSF in Ogun State, there was no insurance of any kind.
Excuse me, the athletes that came from where?
I mean, for the athletes that came for the NSF from different states, from all the states, 36 states in Nigeria.
I will not ask a question for state. I wouldn't know that.
I'm just the reason I'm linking this to the NSF is that NSF, that's the regulatory body, and some things should have been put in place even before now.
I just told you before we got to this, you know, we are in a difficult society where some people fail to put all necessary measures in place. And I said it to you before we got to this junction. I said safety measures have been put in place. Regulators, the National Sport Commission has deemed fit that subsequently going forward, there must be an insurance company insuring all athletes. There must be transport regulators, the mechanism, the modalities that all things will travel, that all hands will be on deck. It's going to be strictly at the errand or before state civilize these measures, talking about insuring athletes, talking about the transport they are using and other logistics. But as I speak with you presently, just yesterday, it was a sleepless night. It was another an eye-opener for National Sport Commission to know that we need to stand our feet. We need to put our toe on ground to ensure that the welfare of athletes becomes paramount. They are the gladiators of the game. They are the reason why there is National Sport Commission. Without athletes, there is no National Sport Commission. In respect to that, and that is the more reason why it has been yesterday. It's not just a mere saying, but action has been put in place by the two technocrats of National Sport Commission, talking about Alhaji Shehu Dikko, the chairman of the National Sport Commission, and the Director General, Honorable Bukola Olopade.
Okay, now let me ask you this question very quickly. Do you think the state sports councils were overwhelmed or underfunded leading to this NSF?
Leading to what?
Leading to the sports festival. Do you think some of these states were actually overwhelmed that some oversight actually came to play?
Of course, if those measures have been put in place, we will not find ourselves where we are now. If only this, you can never, like what I say, you can never undermine the power of risks in anything we do. Risk is part of our daily life. Food we eat is risk. The woman who marry is risk. The wife who marry is risk. The woman that marries is risk. Where you go to is risk. So risk is inevitable. So ability to minimize risk matter most. And that is why we were saying that there's going to be strict regulations about all states, Ministry of Youth and Sport or Sport Council to ensure that athletes' welfare, life happiness going forward.
All right. Do this NSF have any plan to offer any form of psychological support to athletes who go through traumatic events like this accident that just occurred?
That is going on as I speak with you, but not for the public consumption.
Okay.
Because we are not doing this just to play to the gallery. We're doing what we're doing now because we're really sorry for those families who have actually lost their respective loved ones in this ugly incident. Back to what I said, it was a black day for the Nigerian sport. No one would think that this would happen after the successful hosting of the 22nd National Sports Festival. Our hearts are heavy at this point in time. The news is quite shocking. The news is a tragedy that one cannot just forget in a hurry. Anytime you remember 22nd National Sports Festival, those athletes, those journalists, those officials who have actually put their lives on the road for the coming stage will be mentioned, will be remembered. So I think at this point in time, it has left us deeply devastated. As I speak with you again, it's not just something one can just overlook. As I said, attention is paid to details to ensure the family of these loved ones are actually consoled psychologically. Let me use that word. Let me borrow that word from you. Putting them in the right frame of mind, ensuring that yes, what they deserve, the family deserves, they get it. Very fully well. Those athletes died at the cost of duty for Kano State.
All right, going forward, you talked about insurance for athletes, you talked about transport regulation for athletes as regards what they get during the games. But then could public-private partnership be a sustainable way to improve athletes' welfare and logistics management going forward?
We've done that for the National Sports Commission. If you actually follow the trend of the National Sports Festival 22nd edition, you'll be able to understand that so many things changed completely from the way athletes were received, from their feeding to their transportation, their air conditioning in the port, where they stay, the accommodation, air condition, good feeding, and as well to ensure that all those things did not just come accidentally. It was intentional, deliberate action taken by National Sports Commission to partner with private-public partnership. I will not be able to mention some of the partners now, so it will not look as if I'm giving them advertisement. Some of them have actually partnered with the Sports Commission to ensure this successful hosting of National Sports Commission. Don't forget, the National Sports Commission has started with oversee the game. That's the member of organizing committee, MOC. They will have the LOC, the local organizing committee, which is drawn from Ogun State, but the MOC is drawn from the National Sports Commission. So, private-public partnership, the PPA you have actually mentioned, was put in place, and that was why you saw if only you follow the National Sports Festival from the opening ceremony to the closing ceremony. So many cultural displays, spirit of unity, display of cultural heritage by Ogun State, music entertainment from top artists in the country, from Asha to Davido to Wasiande to Wande Cole. All this did not come for free. This is quite demanding in terms of resources. And all these things were put in place by private-public partnership that was set up by the National Sports Commission.
Okay, Kola Daniel is the special assistant to the media to the Director General of the National Sports Commission. He's here with me on the show this morning, and we have been talking about the incident that happened to the Kano contingent heading back to Kano State after the National Sports Festival in Ogun State in the year 2025. But of course, we cannot go without talking about the messages to be drawn from this. And then, what is your message for the concerned families, fans, and the general public as we going forward as regards the current situation?
I can only say that God should please console the family of the deceased. God should comfort them. God show them mercy at this point in time, put them in the right frame of mind with his ways of doing things. There's nobody that can comfort this family that have lost their loved one at the cost of service, but than our Creator. So there's no word to say than to say God should have mercy upon every one of them who have lost their life. May their soul rest in peace. And God, with his infinity mercy, shower his abundant blessing upon their family, enlarge their coast, and ensure the vacuum they created will not be sought, knowing fully well that God can do it.
All right, thank you, Kola Daniel, for being a part of the show this morning. Let's go on a short break. All right, thank you. Good to have you on the show. We'll go on a short break now. We'll be back after this time out. The big story continues on Daybreak Live. Welcome back from that short break. The show is still Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. And of course, this is the big story, where we bring you topics beyond the surface. All right, I have with me in the studio this morning, Afolabi Afolami. With him, we'll be doing justice to the second half of the show. The Kano contingent heading back to Kano State just after the National Sports Festival They are said to have left, just on the night of the closing ceremony, and then they spent hours on the road only to end up in an accident. But of course, we've talked about that, but the Kano State government actually said they are going to give ₦1 million each to the families. That aside, the Ogun State contingent actually left Ogun State to pay a visit to Kano State government, commiserating with them on the death of 22 athletes on their way back to Kano State. But if the state had enough money, as much as ₦1 million each for each athlete, why not partner with private businessmen, flight companies that could have actually flown, handled transportation from Kano State down to Ogun and back by flight? Why wait until there's an unfortunate incident like this before they can actually spend the money?
Well, this particular incident came to Nigeria Sports Commission and the sport lovers as a very sad story. When I heard this story, I was very sad. Looking at the very brilliant future guys that we lost just because of our negligence and inability to know to do the right thing at the right time. Well, those people who have left to commiserate with the family, do they go on road? Do they go by road?
By flight.
They go by flight. They should have gone by road. And that is just it. We don't take life very serious in this country. And that is why we are having all these kind of issues that we don't. I don't know this medicine after death that we are trying to do. Preparation for this kind of sport festival should have come in a way that we will be very comfortable for the athlete. You don't have anything doing if you don't have anybody representing you. You don't have anything doing. It is because you have people who have volunteered to represent your state, who have put in all their effort, who have gone through training, who have put in, and also assure their family that they are coming with glory, such that will elevate their family again from where they are before to another state, another big level. But where will the family be right now? And that is just the question. Now you are talking about ₦1 million for each athlete, and if you have such money, why not invest it in a way that it will be very comfortable? Why traveling from Abeokuta to Kano? Why?
Did you see the picture?
I saw the picture, very
of the bus.
I saw it.
That bus could have actually, that was meant to be how many passengers?
This bus shouldn't carry more than, in a comfortable manner, more than 12, 14.
14 passengers.
But these people entered into the bus were over 22.
Well over 22, they were about 31 and 32.
31 in a bus like this. This is a coastal bus. It's not even invoked again. I don't know why we take life for somebody traveling from Abeokuta to Kano, not even considering the insecurity on the roadside. My brother, if I have to travel from Ibadan to Lagos, I have to look on the expressway and listen to news to confirm that there is stability on the road, especially in the area of security. Let alone the kind of bus I want to go and take, I want to fly with. I don't drive with my car, but I have to make sure that no matter what the bus I will be going with is comfortable for me.
Who takes the blame now?
The government. The government take the blame. We just wasted the life of these people. Brilliant one. There was one guy among them, very brilliant, not up to 30 years. I don't understand why we don't take life very serious here. The lives that these people are our future winners, future generation. People, look at the coaches. Now you are bringing the family together to give one. How much is 1 million in a present country like this? 1 million naira, you dip your hand inside it, is gone. I want to tell you that 1 million naira will not take care of a room for any of the family. Come to Ibadan. A self room here is 250,000. A room self is 50,000 naira. And what will that take care of? A family of 5 or 4. That we're talking about a 3-bedroom that will take them about 1.5 million naira. And if they have family, if they have kids in school, what will 1 million naira do? How much is the government bringing in? How much? You have companies that you can partner with. But because we play politics with everything, we play politics even with our own lives. We play politics. And Nigerian Sport Commission is already becoming a political place where somebody that knows nothing will just be appointed there. Look at the way we waste life. These people should be probed. I don't understand why you put up a bus like this to carry 32 people from Lagos from Abeokuta to Kaduna to Kano. No, it's not bad. It's very bad. It's unfair.
Ogun State hosted the NSF, National Sports Festival.
At Babcock.
And their athletes actually protested that their allowances were delayed.
Even the people that hosted the festival, were these people paid before they get to their death trap? The youth want to come, who will come out for them and say they have been paid?
To confirm if they have been paid.
And that
there are survivors, actually.
There are survivors. And that survivor will be allowed to talk. To tell the story at how it was. To tell us what really transpired. And now they are telling us it was a break fail. Break failure for a bus that will be taking people from Kano to Abeokuta. Not well taken care of. Have you seen the bus before then? Before the accident? How was that bus? Our president, our governor will not fly on such bus from Kano down to Abeokuta. They never. And that was why we have that devastated kind of road that we have now. The insecurity on the increase that we have. If they too have been plying the road, maybe they will have tell the story better. This is bad. Feel for their family. Feel for their future. Feel for the training they are put in to represent that state in that festival. Feel for the people surrounding individual person. They have friends, they have families, they have extended family that depend on them. Very bad. If you have taken life very serious in this country, these people wouldn't have gone down like this. That is my own. And they'll just wake up and find themselves somewhere else.
Talking about welfare of Nigerian athletes, it is not just the NSF. A Nigerian boxer went to Ghana for a fight. He passed away on the ring. His body is still in Ghana.
Yet to be brought back home.
Yet to be brought back home. There was a clip of the wife going around social media yesterday and day before yesterday. That till now, nobody has said anything about bringing him back home.
And we want to be patriotic. How do you see patriotism in this country?
Have you seen videos of ex-internationals?
Oh, God.
Where people are trying to raise money for them. They represented Nigeria. They represented their states at sports festivals.
They made the country great in their own days.
What is going on?
This is a country where I don't know who is...
Are we prioritizing the wrong things?
We do. That is exactly what is going on. What all that we know right now is 2027 election. And that is why people's life is not taken care of. I don't understand. Even look at that guy that went to Ghana to fight the boxer
that went to Ghana
and died. He went on road. We were told that he's owing a particular amount of money. To some people. That is why he needed that fight to pay back his dues, his debt. And that is the condition of many Nigerians like that. And that is the condition. And right now, he's dead there. His corpse could not be returned back home. The family, the wife, everybody is running. If that guy have won that match, he will have been adding to the glory of the country. Somebody will be standing as a sports commission member and be telling you that they are so happy seeing some kind of achievement like that. And that is why the likes of Anthony Joshua will not fight in Nigeria. They will not train in Nigeria. Patriotism is not coming forth. If you ask, just an ordinary, and that is why till date our football match or football club whatsoever will not grow beyond the state they are. Because people are not being mobilized, people are not being encouraged. When you see the way these people go down, then you think about yourself going into the same position, fighting for your own state. When you see the way sport athletes, sports people protest for their welfare, protest for their allowance, protest that they were not well taken care of. We go to where they were being camped, and you see the kind of houses they were put in, the rooms that you go there and see. I went a particular time, I went to visit a friend, and I was asking, are you telling me you were camped here? He said, yes. Camped here? And you want to go and run this race? My guy, if I were you, I will pretend to run. I will come last so I can go back home on time. I tell you, it was ever encouraging. We are not doing very well for athletes. We are not doing well for this country. We are not looking at the future of the country. We are not looking at the youth, those that will take over in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. We are particularly about now. The
way athletes are being handled, will it affect their patriotism going forward?
It's already affecting their patriotism. Don't you know that we have many athletes and sports guys working very well, wonderfully outside the country? When they come to Nigeria, we see what they play for us. We see how they run it. That is just it. It's not affecting you. Right now, I'm so sad that if I continue talking, it will look like I want to bring down this country. But we are not helping our people.
Going forward, what should the government do?
Government should prepare ahead of time. This preparation you are doing after death now is uncalled for. Look at the release just got out from the Sport Commission about the welfare package how they should be handled. I mean, per athlete.
So athletes went to the NSF with no insurance?
No insurance. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? So even if it is not the accident on the road, assuming imagine you are running on the track field and the person just fell down and died. That is the end. Imagine that. Or somebody fell on the sport pitch, just like one of the Nigerian sport guy that died some years back, August 12. That is remind me of that guy named Okparaji. So we are not taking clue from such kind of events to put up some policies that will make people to want to go to the football pitch, to football ground, and want to play like I want to die for my country. You don't die for a country that has nothing on ground for you. You're not the only person representing yourself. You are representing the entire family, your friends and fellow and fans, people that loves you, your country. Not only for your country, for your family. So you are going to play, you are going to run, there is no insurance. The welfare is not well, you don't know if you finish this match, your alert is already on ground. This is unfair. This is bad. Afolabi,
thank you for joining us in the studio this morning.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Good to have you in the studio. All right, that will be the end of the big story on Daybreak Live this morning. You know, this is that show where we look beyond the surface and bring you in-depth analysis such regards happenings in Nigeria. No athlete should leave home representing their country or their state and not return safely. The tragedy after Ogun 2025 must be a turning point, not just another news cycle. It is time for federations, ministries, and governments at all levels to adopt a policy of protection, not just celebration. Let Nigeria move from applause to action. That's the big story on Daybreak Live. I'm Samson Balogun, reminding you that ordinary athletes begins long before the podium and must continue long after the spotlight fades. Thank you for being a part of the big story on the show this morning. Let's go straight to our sport desk as Boluwaji Ogumola is waiting.
Hello, thanks for joining us on Daybreak Sport. I'm Boluwaji Ogumola. Of course, let's take a look at what happened in the world of sports over the weekend, as a whole lot happened across the country and, of course, abroad at the weekend. Of course, in the next couple of minutes, I'll be taking you through all of that and many more on the show this morning. Let's kick start from the Nigerian National League, where a number of games were played at the weekend as we count down to the end of the Nigerian National League for this season. Well, on your screen, you have results of matches played in the NNL at the weekend. Most importantly, Crown FC won again, the return to winning way, courtesy of their 1-0 victory over Inter Lagos, and that victory was just enough to take Crown FC to the second position on the table as we speak. And of course, they are very close, just 6 points adrift Warri Wolves, with just 2 rounds of games left in the Nigerian National League this very season. All right, there you have it. Don't forget that the top 2 teams will make it to the season-ending Super 8. So for Conference C and Conference D, it's been sorted. We're only waiting for the top 2 in Conference A and, of course, in Conference B. And there you have fixtures for this coming weekend. Now, from there, let's cross over to the continent of Africa, where ambitious Egyptian club Pyramids of Egypt, well, over the weekend claimed a very important victory for themselves in the UEFA Champions CAF Champions League, I must say, after beating South Africa's Mamelodi Sundowns 2-1 on home soil to seal a 3-2 aggregate victory. Now, Pyramid of Egypt, let me inform that they were formed in 2008 as Al Asouti, but were renamed 10 years after and moved to Cairo following heavy investment from Saudi Arabia. Now, their success continues the dominance, of course, of Egyptian club in CAF Champions League. Of course, they've dominated that competition for so long. The likes of Al Ahly Football Club of Egypt have dominated the CAF Champions League for so long, and of course we just see how far that we go. Of course, congratulations to Pyramid of Egypt. Now from there, let's go straight to London, where Nigeria, Super Eagles of Nigeria, needed penalties to see off Jamaica in the final of this year's Unity Cup, played on Saturday. Now the game had ended 2-2 in regulation time. Moses Simon opened the scoring with a beautiful finish off Cyril Dessers' cross, but the Reggae Boys of Jamaica leveled things up before Nigeria went ahead once again following a solo effort from Samuel Chukwueze, and then Jamaica once again, of course, equalized. But then at the end of the day, went into penalty shootout, and 5-4, the Super Eagles of Nigeria won that one. And I must confirm to you this morning that the boys are on their way to Russia as we speak. They left the shore of the country yesterday and they're expected in Russia later today as they're traveling through Cairo, Egypt. And of course, we expect them to, of course, perform pretty well against Russia in the friendly coming up later this week. Well, talking about the Super Falcons this morning, the international friendly match between the Super Falcons of Nigeria and the Indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon will not hold today as it has been moved to tomorrow. The encounter has suffered 2 postponements due to the late arrival of the Cameroonian contingent. The Super Falcons of Nigeria and their Cameroonian counterparts were initially billed to face off in a double-header friendly. The first friendly was slated for the Remo Star Stadium in Ikenne last Friday. It was later agreed that both teams would clash in a single friendly game at the Moshood Abiola Sports Arena today, Monday. Of course, the game has now been moved once again to tomorrow, Tuesday, after CAF, that's Convention of African Football, failed to approve today for the fixture. There you have it. Tomorrow, the game will be holding, and it's called one of the games used to prepare the girls for the WAFCON coming up next month. All right, talking tennis this morning, defending champion Carlos Alcaraz produced his best performance of the tournament so far as he claimed a 7-6, 6-3, 4-6, 6-4 victory over American Ben Shelton. Well, the second seed will face American Tommy Paul in the last 8 with the 12th seed, of course, with the 12th seed defeating Alexis Popyrin 6-3, 6-3, 6-3. Well, of course, a lot of games were also played yesterday. Novak Djokovic also coming up with a straight set victory over Misolik 6-3, 6-4, 6-2. That particular game ended. And you have the Alcaraz versus Tommy Paul quarterfinal game holding later on today as well as so many matches to look forward to as far as the French Open is concerned. It is the second Grand Slam of the year, and you also have the Iga Swiatek versus Vitolina quarterfinal game to look forward to. Now, away from the world of tennis, let's cross to the world of Formula 1. Talking about the Circuit de Catalunya track was on fire yesterday at the Spanish Grand Prix, where Oscar Piastri led Lando Norris to a McLaren 1-2 at the Spanish Grand Prix held yesterday. Of course, it was indeed a controversial race, I must say, as Max Verstappen was in trouble. Of course, he suffered a 10-second penalty. And then here you have the final table, of course, the final standings after the race, of course, on your screen. Here is the driver standings. Piastri, Norris still leading, and of course, taking a look at the constructor standings for this as of this morning. It is McLaren still dominating that one. There you have it on your screen. Ferrari coming second, Mercedes third, Red Bull fourth, Williams fifth, and of course, it goes on and on. From the world of Formula 1, let's cross to the NBA this morning, where the Indiana Pacers reached the NBA Finals for the first time since year 2000 as they defeated the New York Knicks 125-108 points in Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals decided at the weekend. Pascal Siakam maintained his impressive form to be named MVP of the series after recording 31 points and 3 blocked shots on Saturday in Indianapolis. Well, the Pacers will face Western Conference winners, the Oklahoma City Thunder, in the NBA Finals, which begin on Thursday. And you trust us right here on Dominion Television to bring you all of the updates as far as the NBA Final is concerned. Now let's cross to European football and talk about the biggest one. The mother of all club competition was decided on Saturday as Paris Saint-Germain put up a sensational performance as they hammered Inter Milan 5-0 in this year's UEFA Champions League final decided in Munich on Saturday. Well, it was indeed a very interesting game that saw a number of goals. Not many believe that such number of goals will happen, honestly. PSG were ahead within 30 minutes of the game as Achraf Hakimi found himself free in the area, to tap home the opener for the team. And of course, a good number of other goals followed after that one. Desire Doe, scoring as well. Not to forget the man who joined from Napoli, Vijay Kvaratskhelia, also found the back of the net for Paris Saint-Germain. And of course, Mayulu rounded off the victory for Paris Saint-Germain. What a win for them, their first UEFA Champions League trophy. And you look at this man on your screen. Yes, the man who actually ensured that they go home with this trophy, Luis Enrique. 2015, he did the treble with FC Barcelona, and 10 years after 2025, he just did the treble again for Paris Saint-Germain. What a team, very hungry young team doing great things for themselves. Now, finally, to the tragedy that struck at the weekend. Let me inform you this morning that the Nigeria Football Federation, has expressed a grave sorrow and grief over the death on Saturday of 22 Kano State athletes who lost their lives in an auto crash on their way from the 22nd edition of the National Sport Festival in Ogun State. The athletes died 50 kilometers to the city of Kano when their vehicle veered off the road and crashed into a nearby river. Well, in the same vein, the Nigerian Wrestling Federation is equally commiserated with the government of Kano State, the Nigerian sports community, and the families of the deceased. Of course, the Wrestling Federation, in a statement released over the weekend and signed by its president, Daniel Igali, described the loss a national tragedy. But the Kano State government has declared today, Monday, public holiday to mourn the death of the 22 athletes that lost their lives at the weekend. I will pray for the repose of the departed. And that's sports this morning. Thanks for watching.
Back from that short break. That was our Daybreak Sports with Boluwaji Ogunmola. The show is still Daybreak Live on Dominion Television, your channel of choice, where inspiration meets entertainment. Don't forget you can be a part of the conversation by joining us live on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to that channel at Dominion Broadcast. Also, don't forget to drop your comments. You can also link up with us on all of the social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, including LinkedIn. It is at Dominion Broadcast. And on X, formerly Twitter, it is at DominionCast. You can also watch us live on our website, www.dominion.org.ng, dominion.org.ng. All right, Pat, it is time for Trend Watch.
Yes, time for Trend Watch.
Trend Watch.
Well, we have this one is saying, whenever I'm sad, I book a flight.
I mean, where's the destination?
I love that kind of lifestyle.
I think it's a very interesting motivation for oneself. You have to, get something that actually makes you happy when you are down.
Let me ask you, when you're sad, what do you do?
Well, I sleep.
Huh? You will still wake up to meet that. Well,
yeah, I don't want to talk too much actually.
I know. But let me just mellow.
But then he says,
whenever I am sad, I book a flight, destination Thailand. It might not be Thailand, maybe sometimes Ghana, thereabout.
It doesn't have to be that expensive. You can actually do another African country, but then whatever works for you, well, just keep doing it.
Okay, we have somebody talking there. Comments from there.
Section.
Edutex_pounds saying that which one be sadness again? Oga, if you come happy, not to go heaven. No?
I mean, sometimes people don't understand why people do things they do. I mean, if he's happy, he most definitely has something he does too. But then when he's feeling a little down, he knows what he has to do. And that's what
that works for him.
So if it doesn't work for you and you have something else you do that works for you.
Some people will tell you, I listen to music. Some people watch home videos. Anything that works for you.
I was seeing a video of a woman that says whenever she's actually down and she feels like she has issues with people and she doesn't want to talk about it, she closes her door and then scream loud in her own room. And once she's done screaming, she's okay.
Okay. So, well, another comment there. Cynthia LM saying that levels on the distinction.
I mean, everyone has their levels actually. For people who actually can afford to book a flight,
if you cannot book a flight, you can book taxi to Lagos or to Ijebu, to anywhere.
Just make sure you have. While we were living on Friday, I said, no matter how little, just have fun. Because at the end of the day, you realize, why have I been going through this stress? It is just for you to eventually find time to relax. You see, when you see people who actually spend 35 years,
in service,
working for the government or wherever they work, and the goal is to actually retire and then relax and enjoy those, the hard work of 35 years. So it means that whether you like it or not, at one point or the other, it will get to a stage where you want to, feel relaxed.
Relax
and say, yes,
and
I think I've done enough.
Suits your mind. Well, away from that, this Ruby Ojiako and Mock Mado wedding, and I don't know why people are just coming to attack the lady. She's actually giving advice.
Well, they say she's doing too much.
What's doing too much there?
Maybe
she has been there before, or somebody wanted to tie the knot with her, and maybe she made a mistake and she feel like, oh, let me just share with you so that you won't fall into that trap. So why is she doing that much? Why would somebody just come to say she's doing much?
When you are doing things on your wall, on your personal profile, it is your view. You are not speaking for any other person. So it means that people really have to respect your own view too. And that actually means that you don't get to attack people unnecessarily in their comment section. So when they say things the way it is, how they feel, you have to respect. If it doesn't work for you and you don't like what they have said, you have the option of walking away and just scrolling past that particular post. And that, for me, I think that's the best thing to do.
Well, we have a comment there, Ojulewa Studio, saying that our joy is permanent. Our joy is permanent. She's very expressive. We all have different personalities. Appreciate the differences, but happy for others. If someone else's joy triggered you, you don't have to comment, just pass.
I mean,
exactly what you said. Yeah. And good thing comes to people that are happy for others. Always be positive, spread love.
I think people also have to understand that being negative at all times attracts negativity. So you have to stay positive and be happy for people who are happy.
Well, some people, even though you are positive to them, the negativity, their spirits,
the bad energy
will still follow them. We'll know.
Just keep things cool, I beg.
They beg them.
All right, another one here.
Well, the last one here, Dudukemi.
It's something really interesting as the Duduke family actually celebrated.
Who are the Duduke's family?
The Duduke family are celebrating their daughter.
Big five.
That's 5 years. As you know, sometimes you lose track of time, and
she looks like Simi.
I mean, like carbon copy. But then there's another resemblance of Adekunle Gold in one way or the other. I think it's a blend of the two actually. But then she's actually pretty. Really pretty. And then you go there and they say, oh, it's the little light of mine with big energy, big heart, big voice. There's this piece too written for the young girl. I mean, it looks
Happy
interesting
birthday,
and sounds
Boogie,
interesting.
Rainbow Girl. I'm saying that you're wonderful, delightful. I hope you
That's really interesting.
Interesting
too. I think this should actually be documented for the child to read when she finally grows up and knows what it means to actually feel this way. But then, congratulations to the Duduke family.
Congratulations,
AG,
Deja.
and of course the wife, which is Simply Simi. Congratulations to the family. That takes us to the end of the show this morning. Today is Monday, but of course you must know that today sets the tone for what's to happen during the week. I want to wish you a blessed week, and of course keep being good, keep being safe out there. Samson Balogun is my name.
And I am Pat Aita saying have a lovely Monday. Bye.